Welcome to Layeth the Mat Down. How you doing, Charlie?
I got some Boda Box wine. I'm doing good.
Shout out to Boda Box,
our sponsor.
Yes.
One day. Hey, make sure you ain't Boda.
That was incredible. What a catchphrase machine, like a young rock.
Are you both?
So, Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you both drinking wine out of coffee mugs right now?
Yes, we are. I got this coffee mug from Walter Payton College Prep because I actually volunteered with them and showed the children how to make an iPhone app. So they gave me a mug. So,
really?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yep. I like that.
Yep. And so
Matt is a super baby face.
Yeah, I'm honoring sweetness by drinking wine out of his mug.
Well, I sit here with no wine in a coffee mug, but I'm doing damn well. NXT TakeOver just ended. I'm going to kick this podcast in the ass, baby.
Oh, man. Great pay-per-view. I was very happy about it. But first, let's get to the news and room. Actually, first, let's see how Matt's doing. Matt's doing pretty good. Matt just started a new job. I now work at Spot Hero. I'm still an iOS developer. It's been great so far. Anyway, so news and rumors. Charlie.
We should just change that segment to putting Matt over.
Yeah.
Matt just moves up over twice.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, we've asked each other how we're doing, and then when it's Matt's turn, none of us say anything. And I kind of like the gimmick of Matt speaking in the third person. I feel like this needs to continue.
Oh, God.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. Congrats on the job, Matt.
Thank you.
But yeah, we can. Okay, if that was a transition to me, we could talk about latest news that happened. So I actually came back from vacation. I was in Florida this past weekend, and some crazy news broke while I was there. And I was a little behind on it. I'm usually on top of my Twitter game, as you all know, sending you guys updates at like 7:30 in the morning when I get up. It's how I start my morning on Twitter. It's how I end my night on Twitter. I love Twitter. So
I'm starting to love Twitter too.
Yeah, it's great. You're a lot more involved, a lot more. You're tweeting a lot more, which is great. Follow Layeth the Mat Down on Twitter.
Follow Fat Reed on Twitter.
But some news broke that's kind of, I guess it's commingling the combat sports, if you will. And that has to do with UFC. So
because wrestling is a combat sport.
It's an impact sport.
I couldn't even say that without laughing, but go ahead.
Right. And so Brock Lesnar, I guess, had a clause in his contract that, he could fight like one-off matches. And or this is something new. I don't know what you guys heard, but I think there was an option in his contract to do like a UFC match if he wanted to. And he's going to fight Mark Hunt at UFC 200, but that doesn't mean that he's leaving. He's still going to wrestle at SummerSlam for the WWE. So it's sort of a cross promotion, and it's weird because I don't know if they'll necessarily like promote each other or put each other over, but it like incidentally they already are kind of because Brock is now an asset for both of them. Yeah. And it's two companies that really have never gotten along, obviously, because of the nature of both of their sports, one being scripted and one being just the most violent thing on the planet Earth. Yeah,
and also Dana White hates WWE.
Yes.
Vince McMahon hates UFC.
Right. Yeah, Dana White used form. And that's not FUCK. It's the other F word that we will not say here. But so my initial reaction, honestly, I love that Brock. I love when it came down to it, Brock chose wrestling over UFC.
Yeah.
Because I like wrestling more, and that this is not. It's not anything against UFC. Like I'll watch a great UFC fight, and I'll be entertained as hell. Extra flair that go along with wrestling.
Yeah.
And at first when the news broke, I was like pissed because I thought Brock was going back for sure. And even though Brock, I think Brock wants to be a UFC fighter. He just doesn't at this age, and because of his health, he doesn't want the rigorous training.
Yeah.
So this kind of gives Brock the best of both worlds. and it makes him probably the happiest guy. So that thinking behind it, like after it sunk in a little bit, I was like really happy for Brock, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I found out he was still wrestling SummerSlam, and I didn't feel like as betrayed, really, as a hardcore wrestling fan. So I'm just behind Brock in every sense of the word, and I hope that he knocks out Mark Hunt, and then he goes and wrestles a gem at SummerSlam, and he called himself the modern day Bo Jackson, which I don't think is true.
Not even close.
But I think he's the barbaric version of Bo Jackson. Yeah. And if he can pull this off and get a knockout victory and score a pinfall at SummerSlam after wrestling for like 25 minutes, I mean, it'll be an amazing feat. So I hope that happens.
Yeah, but like when I first heard this news, I was thinking this is a win for UFC because they're going to sell tickets. But like it is possibly it's a huge risk for WWE because Brock Lesnar hasn't wrestled in years. I mean, he hasn't fought in years. Like, what if he gets knocked out?
Right.
There goes Brock Lesnar's credibility. Like, all this work they've gone into, like, not having him be pinned in the longest time, like, is out the window. If he gets knocked out of UFC, he's no longer the beast. He's a dude who got beat by a guy with a 12-10 record.
Right. Yeah, no, that's very true. It's very risky.
Yeah.
And then what was your first point? It was
it's a win for UFC regardless.
Is that your first point?
Yeah.
That's fine. We can pass it off to Jim.
I actually think at this point that they have to be working together because I heard a rumor that according to like the deal that they struck. Huh?
You're not gonna save this, Jim?
Yeah, no, I'm not saving it. But I'm saying I heard that they're gonna promote SummerSlam like on the show. Like during UFC 200, they're gonna be doing commercials for SummerSlam. Oh, you can watch Lesnar at SummerSlam, so on and so forth. Vince doesn't do things unless he makes money, and I think that Vince and Dana might somehow be in cahoots because now there's Punk went over, that's making Dana money. Lesnar's going over, it's making Dana money. Lesnar's coming back. Ronda makes UFC money, but if she becomes a wrestler, she's going to make WWE money. And I think that, I don't know, they both gain from this. I think WWE has a little bit more to lose, like you said, if Lesnar was to get knocked out or hurt. But I think it helps both parties. Because if you're
as long as Lesnar wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And I bet you like the casual UFC fan who's going to watch the UFC fight and know WWE and Lesnar goes out and looks like a badass. And if he wins, people might be like, dude, I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. I'm going to check out. Because during that UFC fight, they're going to be like, subscribe for free, get a month for free on the network, go watch SummerSlam. They'll promote it. People are going to, they're going to get subs because of that for a fact.
And I was actually listening to David Shoemaker's podcast on the Ringer Network, and he was interviewing Goldberg, and Goldberg says that every UFC fighter is a WWE fan. Like, all of them are, like, huge wrestling fans.
But Dana White isn't.
Yeah, Dana White's a douchebag, though.
He's a douche.
So is Joe Rogan.
Yes.
But yeah, Joe Rogan is.
To your point, Jim, and it worked. It's already worked vice versa for me. To your point was, and this is what I was going to say to Matt's first point. To your point was that the casual UFC fan will watch wrestling, and the wrestling fan wants to watch UFC.
Yeah.
And that's already happened to me. I've already had text conversations with some people about ordering the fight to cheer on Brock because like I am so behind Brock because I'm a wrestling fan.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. So
also, I love Daniel Cormier, who's also a huge wrestling fan.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Nice.
He was on Stone Cold's podcast.
McGregor's fighting somebody else.
Oh yeah, McGregor's gonna be there too. That's gonna be a good pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm in.
I think so. All right, Jim, do you want to go on yours?
All right, so my news broke about 30 minutes ago. And not to spoil any that was my ringtone. Not to spoil any non-NXT TakeOver watchers. But if you haven't watched the end, NXT TakeOver the end, stop listening now, because just a couple of minutes ago, Samoa Joe gave Finn Balor his first loss as the Demon. And I think that's important because we've seen him lose when he comes out looking like Finn, but I thought they were going to try to keep his Demon slate clean, at least to the main roster, to say when he comes in this Demon state, he's untouchable. But to have him lose as the Demon is an interesting thing, and I feel like it has to lead to his call-up now with almost a slight gimmick change of him being involved in the club in some way, a little bit more edgy. And then we probably won't see the Demon again until like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. I mean, I bet you he doesn't do it at the small pay-per-views. He's only going to do the big pay-per-views from now on. Yeah. He's got to get called up soon, and hopefully that's the case.
You have any thoughts? You can go.
I mean, I think he's right. If he loses as the Demon, and we were talking about this earlier, like I was asking Charlie, has he ever lost as a Demon?
He did,
Jim just answered that he did tonight. But no thoughts on that. Basically, I agree. Mm-hmm. He's probably going to go up soon.
Yeah, I think Triple H confirmed in his interview, from what I saw of it, this is the only interesting thing that I saw in that interview besides like a recap. But the end, I think, really just meant the end of their rivalry. So where does Finn go from here? I did actually read something that he has been used in some initial marketing material for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And I know that's something that Jim doesn't want to hear. I actually saw it on the Bleacher Report team stream that Jim and I used as like our sources. And so I don't know, like, where does he go from here? Like, everyone wants him. Everyone was like almost predicting him to walk out of the curtain at Extreme Rules, and we got Rollins, which is like an awesome replacement. But everyone's like thinking Finn is right around the corner, but is he? So.
I mean,
I don't know.
The only other person he can wrestle in NXT is Shinsuke. And I don't know if they want to.
Yeah.
If they do that, they'll do it at Brooklyn, and then he'll get called up. But because that's it, he can't. There's nobody else that he should wrestle. If he's not going for the belt, he's better than the rest of the people, at least in their story wise. And so if it's not Joe, it's got to be Shinsuke. If they choose to save that for someday on the main roster, that's up to them. But hopefully we see him soon. It'd be nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll move on to my news. Nakamura versus Kevin Owens. Great segue, Matt. That's an opportunity for a segue. But Nakamura versus Kevin Owens on July 2nd in WWE Japan. I think that's going to be amazing, and I'm excited. Should be real stiff and shit.
Wait, is this like a taped thing, or is this just a house show?
I don't know. Let's check Reddit. But I'm guessing it was probably a house show, unfortunately. Let's see.
Either way, that's freaking amazing. That's great.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Yeah, the only thing, it's been booked, but that's all I see on the tweet.
Yeah.
So who fucking knows?
That's still fantastic.
Yeah, I would love to see that very much. I'm a little distracted because the Golden State Warriors are getting their booties whooped right now. They're down by 20 at the time of this taping, and it's very upsetting for me because I hate LeBron because I'm from Chicago.
But if you want to see a preview of what that Japan match on July 2nd could be, you could watch the Ring of Honor match. They've had a Ring of Honor match.
Oh, yeah, they did have that match. Yeah.
And this is not to sound like an absolute smartass, but Matt, I've watched that match and it was fantastic. It was really good, and it was very stiff. We did watch it together. Mm-hmm. Very stiff match. I mean, their characters are a lot more developed now. You know, Kevin Owens is just like phenomenal in the ring in terms of like the banter that he says. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shinsuke and him play off of each other at the beginning of the match, and how on how they interact. Like I could see Kevin Owens doing what Austin Aries did tonight by doing like the double taunt, like, with his eyes closed and things like that. So also Asuka returning to Japan as NXT Women's Champion. So I wonder who she's gonna wrestle. Or are they gonna do a Nia Jax versus Asuka 2 there, and kind of cap that off? So I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. But if you want to go to YouTube and check out that Ring of Honor match, beforehand, it'll give you like a little bit of flavor, a little bit of indie flavor, what we could potentially see.
That sounds awesome.
I believe you get to see which Cody Rhodes put on his list of things he wanted to experience.
Oh, what?
Yeah. What if Cody Rhodes in Japan? So
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I heard Cody was gonna be wrestling for Evolve. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I think him and Chris here are gonna do a program.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
So hopefully that means, if he's doing Evolve, hopefully within a couple of months we get to see him at 115 Bourbon Street. Dude, that would sell out so fast if he was on the card.
I would die. I would love to see that.
AEW is going to get him. They're killing it right now.
They need to.
They could have Cody wrestle Sammy, and that would be enough right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could face Sammy for one of his 18,000 belts. Oh man, I can't believe he was at NXT and they just did not. And we mean Sami Callihan, not Sami Zayn.
Right.
But yeah, I just can't believe he was at NXT and they just did not use him at all. It was dumb.
Right.
Because I feel like he's my favorite indie wrestler right now. He's so good.
He's the king of the indies.
Well, you like Sammy's your favorite right now?
What was that?
Sammy's your favorite right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Just that match with him and Tommaso Ciampa, the last AEW match, was the best thing I've ever seen. Even the Pentagon Jr. Phoenix match was probably better. But I enjoy Sami Callihan and Tommaso Ciampa more. Just more my thing. But anyway, want to move on to rumors. I think Jim has a rumor.
Oh yeah, the last rumor that I heard recently was that Ronda Rousey will be at WrestleMania 33. This may be a dumb question. Is that this upcoming one or is that in 2 years?
That's this upcoming one.
The one that just happened was 32 or 31?
It was 32.
Yeah, so I heard a rumor.
Yeah, 31 is the one that won the championship.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like that she's going to be a part of the show, if not in a match, which you could totally see happening. But that would be great.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I was the biggest Ronda Rousey fan. Like I stopped watching UFC, but I would only watch it to see her matches. And then once she lost, I stopped watching UFC.
I feel like she can cut a promo without any help. Like it comes natural to her, yeah.
And like she comes out to the octagon like a wrestler. Like she comes out like Samoa Joe. Like that's like same look on her face.
God, I love that fucking Samoa. Excuse my language. I love that Samoa Joe song when he comes out with that little swag
like
stuff.
And okay. Okay.
This is a kid-friendly show. No, it's not.
No, it's
Jim,
not.
who does she wrestle?
I put the little E on the podcast.
Right.
Like on the podcast.
If she wrestles, it's got to be Charlotte Flair. I mean,
that would be great.
It would have to be like. There's no way it'd be cool to give her Becky because they both do arm bars and stuff. But to be real, whoa, wait a minute, time out. How insane would it be if Ronda came on the show, nuclear heel? She came like, I did UFC, you're all chump change to me, and she wrestles Bayley.
Oh.
Whoa. And Bayley, the ultimate underdog, goody two-shoes girl, I can beat you. Ronda squashes her for the first 8 minutes, and Bayley builds a slow comeback, takes the fucking win.
That'd be such a good match.
It's I don't know, I feel like Ronda wrestling is such a lose-lose because the first that popped in my head was Charlotte, Jim, but any of the 4 horsewomen deserve an actual wrestling match on the grandest stage of them all. And I just feel like I feel like if you're gonna put Ronda over, she has to go over like a major heel like Charlotte. But then again, like Charlotte just deserves like an actual wrestling match. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I feel like if her first match is WrestleMania, she would have to face someone who's not like. Well, I feel like her first match should not be WrestleMania. Even I feel like she should come in sooner. That way, she can get some experience and actually learn how to wrestle.
They like don't use celebrities though unless it's SummerSlam or WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So it has to be.
Yeah. Is it? But is she going to be a celebrity or is she?
She's a celebrity.
Yeah, or she's not joining.
No, she won't.
You never know. She might do it one day.
One day, I think, but I think she's gonna have to lose a bunch more times before that ever happens.
Yeah.
In UFC.
All right. Let's do the triple threat recap. Who wants to ask a question first? Jim, you want to ask first?
All right, I'll go first. This week's triple threat recap.
We need a sound.
Yeah, we do need a soundboard. That'd be epic. Of just my voice trying to be epic.
Yeah.
My question I want to ask you guys, and so I'll ask Charlie first, and then Matt, you can answer after Charlie. The question is such. Since the last time we spoke, the company has turned AJ Styles heel. He then attacked John Cena with the help of the club. Right when we thought that the club was going to backstab Styles during the Reigns match, it was the other way around. Rollins attacks Reigns. Styles kind of leaves with no role. They throw Styles at Cena, which is perfect, I think. But what are your thoughts on making Styles the heel in the Cena match? And is it going to stick? Is he going to keep being a heel, or is their goal to make him an in-betweener and put some edge on him to be in the club? What are your thoughts, Charles?
Well, if he's going to work with Cena, he has to be – he doesn't have to be heel. If this was like a Cena AJ NXT version, they could get away without like defined roles. Like I don't know if you noticed, but NXT sometimes doesn't have defined and they still work really well. Like I think an Asuka versus Jax example is good because
Jax is a heel.
Jax is a heel.
Asuka versus Bayley.
Right. But no, Jax is a heel, but Asuka just came off being the biggest babyface in NXT.
Yeah.
And I don't even really like feel like she's a face. So that was kind of an example of the NXT just like breaking barriers on face versus heel. So but in to my point, main roster just doesn't do that. So it makes sense to her turn him heel if he's going to be working with Cena, because Cena will never turn heel. I love the beat up. I love the beat down because AJ is the indie darling and he's the fans guy, and Cena is not. So it was like everyone wants to see Cena get their ass beat, and AJ did that for him. So I think that was like the best part of that Raw. I actually watched that Raw live all the way through, which I don't usually do. And it can work. Like it can work because Bullet Club was heel in Japan. Like they're a heel group, and they always have been, at least to my knowledge. So it can work. I think that AJ can be a tweener or a heel and still make it happen. But the thing that annoyed me a little bit is kind of their last promo. That I don't know if you watched their last promo, but AJ had some like really good points, and he even pulled out the point of burials happening, which is like a very smarky term. And once again, he's the internet's wrestler.
Funny, actually. I was watching it with my girlfriend, who's here, just brought pizza. That's why I was cheering. She was watching it with me, and she's like, "What does that mean, burying?" And I had to explain burying to her.
Right. So that's an internet term.
Yeah.
But the thing that pissed me off like a little bit is I think they kind of made AJ look a tiny bit like a coward. Yes, and he kind of was. And it was the way that like Cena was calling him out. Like Cena was calling him out for like using his boys and only being strong with his boys. And that's the way that like Bray Wyatt kind of picks up heat, because he almost doesn't fight battles himself. So I don't know. I feel like AJ, AJ is strong enough to fight battles himself, and I kind of feel like that Cena was calling out his cowardice. But I think he's like a really good candidate for a heel indie darling. But just don't kind of demasculate him or take away his masculinity. Like by having Cena like call him out like that, you know.
I agree, and I think, like you said, the best part of that Raw was their segment, and especially when he was like, people know us, people know who we are, and people know that in this ring, I'll wrestle circles around you, son. And then Cena took it as like, all right, you're more technical, but you never wrestled in a big match like me. And I like that they played to each other's strengths. Like Cena credited him as being the more wrestling-oriented guy, and then Styles didn't credit Cena for anything. He bashed him, which is the heel thing to do. Cena always gives credit and then makes fun of you first after being like, you know what, you are one hell of a son of a bitch fighter, but I'll tell you what, I will kick your ass. Whereas Styles was like, you can't wrestle, bro. We all know it. You can't wrestle. And so we'll see. Part 2 of my question before statement is, do you think the club still turns on Styles at some point?
I'll just finish, Bun, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. Like if that they already teased that and then it didn't happen. Like now I think they're together for good. So unless the storyline crashes and burns, which you could potentially do, I think they're going to be together for a little bit. Like I think AJ stays heel for a while, and he just plays to that. Like he's the internet's wrestler, like I said, and the internet gets behind really good heels. They got behind Seth Rollins. They're always behind Kevin Owens. So I think they're fine with him being a heel. So I would say no to that.
Yeah. All right. So I hated that they turned him heel just because I like AJ Styles so much. And I'm not a smark at all. Actually, I like define classic storylines and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm a huge mark for like I wanted to cheer for New Day for the longest time, and I almost always didn't, because New Day was like the only New Day and Seth Rollins only heels I would cheer for. So I was just literally upset that they turned him heel, so I couldn't cheer for him anymore. But honestly, it's probably for the best. But it pissed me off that now he's feuding with the New Day, and now I have to cheer against either AJ Styles or the New Day. So that was my answer. I was just upset.
I'm kind of right there with you. I don't think I like it. I liked it as a baby face.
And also, he was selling the most merch of anyone except for probably Kevin Owens and John Cena. Why in the world would they turn him heel? And they're basically hurting their chance to sell merch.
Yeah, that's why I wonder if they're trying to just make him a tweener. Depending on who he's feuding with, he'll be either the good or the bad.
Yeah. And the thing is, he was probably the most over babyface in the company. And he was one of the few people that both little kids and adults liked.
Yeah.
But then they turned him heel. I didn't get it, but whatever.
I think he can still be over. It's just
he definitely will still be over. He'll be over like Seth Rollins is, and little kids will probably hate him.
I just don't make him look like that much of a chump. Make him do heelish things.
Yeah.
That don't make him just look like
a Sally.
Like a Sally, yeah, that's a better put. I was gonna say a vulgar term, but because he's not a Sally, he really is a hard ass, and he can be heel and still be a hard ass.
Don't make him Seth Rollins as a heel,
right? Seth Rollins was getting beat by J&J, and he looked like a Sally at times. Okay. So
I'm gonna eat pizza. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
All right, so that was my question to you guys. Why don't you go next, Charlie, since Matt is chowing down?
So my question to you, Jim, and I'll let you answer first, is so I recently heard on Matt Men podcast, shout out to Matt Men, so it's, if you think about the current state of the roster, right? So a draft is happening. and they're going to need to like pack the mid card very heavy, and there's going to be hopefully matches and space and airtime for people in this new mid card that's happening when the draft happens. So potentially people from NXT could move up to fill that mid card, and NXT, besides like your main faces, is really in, I think, sort of a rebuilding mode in the undercard, in their under to mid. It's in a very hard rebuilding mode. So I've been told that WWE is just like going after everyone. Everyone that is a good indie wrestler, like WWE is going after them. So my question to you and to everyone listening is who's the next big signing that NXT signs?
My answer might be a boring one, and I think they've hinted at it, but I feel like it's going to be Bobby Roode from TNA, because they even like Phillips brought his name up tonight. And I feel like that was what the William Regal segment was when like Regal like walked away after they cut back to when they cut back to the two announcers. He said the name Bobby Roode, and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, why did Phillips say that? What are they doing? And he would be a big signing. And then from the indie circuit, I'm trying to think of guys who would fit the bill. Like who could come over and kind of fit in the NXT role, but that's not obligated to be somewhere else. And
guys, who's Bobby Roode?
Bobby Roode is my number one pick, and then maybe I don't know if they're gonna keep going the Japanese route and go after Ibushi, but the whoever wins the cruiserweight tournament, if it's not someone in house, will get signed.
Gulak.
Yeah, Drew Gulak. There it is. Damn it.
But, who is Bobby Roode though?
He is he's kind of like a Triple H in a sense, and he was a TNA guy, and he brings kind of like, you know how what Triple H's character was kind of like at one point, like just the badass, like when he wasn't the wimpy bitchy heel, he was like I'm the destroyer, I'm a badass, I'm a stern guy, look at the stern look at my face all the time. That's kind of how Roode is, and he'd be a good person for the roster. Like I don't know, he'd be good.
What do you think, Matt?
It's a hard question.
We only ask hard questions here.
Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get on Layeth the Mat Down.
I don't know. I'm gonna go Ricochet.
Yeah.
I heard they were in talks with him.
Yeah.
Also,
After
he had the crazy match with Will Ospreay that ruined wrestling.
According to Vader.
Mm-hmm. Fuck Vader. Vader tweeted his dick recently. We don't listen to anything that he said.
Wait, Pod Vader?
What did you say?
Who is it? Like Vader? Like Vader said this.
Yeah, Vader. Vader, like he like said that match was terrible and they weren't selling. And also, but then recently he got his Twitter hacked and his ex-girlfriend, allegedly his ex-girlfriend tweeted a picture of his dick.
Yeah. So Jim, the controversy there is right. So Vader said there was no storytelling or selling in that match. And I mean, Vader's just an old school guy, and that was not an old school match by any means. It was more of like a fusion lucha pan. So he didn't like the match. That's basically it.
Pop pointed this out on his podcast. Like, Vader is kind of a hypocrite for saying that, because he was known for fucking being a big guy who does a moonsault. And how do you shit on a match because they're doing flips?
Yeah, I think Vader just thought it was like too much, but to not go into that anymore. So
yeah,
if I think that that actually Brian Cage would be a really good NXT signing, and not because he's an NXT guy, because he's not, but because he's eventually a Vince guy. I mean, Vince loves the bodies, right? We all know that. And Cage, who's on Lucha Underground and does a lot of indie work, is just like, I mean that he's a genetic freak. He's not a man. He's a machine, and it like has the muscles that would just make Vince pop a hard one. So to answer my own question, I think that he would be great. And like I mean, Lucha Underground is really making a name for itself. It's becoming almost like the third or fourth entity or like main entity in wrestling. You have WWE, you have TNA, you have New Japan, and then like it's Lucha Underground. Like those are like your four big spots that you want to go to. Obviously, if you can't get the WWE, those other three can be like a fallback, or if you just want to be the journeyman on the indies. Those are kind of like your five options. I think Lucha Underground has solidified itself as like a legitimate option. So I think there's a lot of good talent there that could be signed. Yeah. Brian Cage is one of them.
I like Cage. He's like huge and muscular, but he's not like stiff and a bad wrestler like say Batista or something. And I like Batista.
Throwing shade at Batista, damn.
I don't want to talk bad about Batista. I met him at Whole Foods and he was very nice.
Yeah. All right, Matt, your question's next.
When do you think Seth Rollins will reclaim?
Who is this question to?
Jim, you can go first.
All right. Dude, I'm really nervous about this because I don't think he reclaims at all this year, which is so insanely sad. I think Roman beats him. I think Dean wins Money in the Bank, and the person that takes the belt off of Roman will be Dean by cashing in. I don't think Seth will get the belt again. I think he had his year-long run, and he's got to wait a little while before he gets his second reign. We'll see. But that my prediction, if I had to call it, I'm going to say that he doesn't need the belt to be larger than life bad guy right now. He already is a larger than life bad guy. So they're going to keep the belt on Roman to make him look strong. And if anybody takes it off him, it'll be Dean. And it'll be like brother take it off brother thing that really turns the corner for Dean's career, because compared to the other two, he's the only one that hasn't really done anything. He's been the Intercontinental Champion and stuff, but he's not on the same level of those other two guys, and I think Money in the Bank puts Dean on the same level.
Yeah, he's the only one who hasn't been heavyweight champion. So.
That's a really good observation. Because I think that Dean is like getting lost again almost. And like I know I texted you guys this, like Dean was so hot last year because he was feuding with Roman and no one wanted Roman that they almost like missed the boat on Dean, like to put the belt on him at his most like sizzling point, I guess. And so that's a great observation that it could be Dean before Seth, and I really like that because I think Dean has put in his due to win that belt.
The only problem with Dean is that he runs so slow. He's so slow when he hits the ropes, and his like suicide dive is so slow. Like compared to
that bothers you?
It bothers me. He's so slow. Like look at Cesaro hit the ropes compared to Dean. Cesaro's running at least twice as fast.
Okay. To answer, I'm gonna move on from that. Just gonna move on. Let me move this wine on over here. No, I'm just kidding. So Matt, to answer your question, I think that if he does reclaim it this year, it's gonna be SummerSlam in a triple threat. That's not like the boldest prediction ever, but I think Seth, like the slow build to Seth reclaiming, will be worth it, and I could see him winning the belt back at SummerSlam in a triple threat with Dean and Roman. So I just don't know if Dean wins the Money in the Bank, but it would be.
I think KO wins it.
I think KO wins it, but it would be really cool it's usually like Money in the Bank is usually a heel tactic, right? So it would be really cool to see a babyface win it, and like it would be kind of like a new spin on like how a babyface use it. Like, does he utilize it? Does he utilize it in a cheap way, or does he literally go up to the person like Dean and be like, "I'm going to cash this in on you tonight," and he does it? Like lets the person know he's coming. So I think that I don't know. I like Jim's booking sounds more interesting, but I don't know if that'll happen. You know, it's like I'm kind of using my head a little bit, but Jim's using his heart. But I think your booking sounds great with Dean, Jim. So.
All right. Yeah, I think it'll be a while before Seth reclaims. Unfortunately, I want him to win it at Money in the Bank. I want Roman to have never won it. I'm just kidding. So we'll move on to TakeOver, the end reactions, the final NXT event for the rest of the time. Just kidding. Triple H thinking that interview is a waste of time. So you want to go over the results?
Yeah, Jim, why don't you start? Why don't you just touch like one or two sentences on every match? I don't have to get into it and do another like an hour recap on it, but
yeah, totally. I'll start off with my initial thought was that the show was good, but of all the takeovers I've watched, I think it was the least I liked it the least of every takeover I've watched. Now, a part of that is because I feel like this is one of the first where I don't have an emotional connection to some of the characters. Like, I watched Sasha Banks turn into Sasha Banks, and I had an emotional connection to her. I watched Bayley turn into Bayley. I had an emotional connection to her. I watched Sami Zayn lose, do amazing things. I had an emotional connection to him. And this is the first time that there was an NXT takeover where, like, aside from Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, I don't really have a connection with that many people. Like, Nakamura is still brand new. Aries is brand new. Joe's still like relatively new, and I'm starting to like Joe a lot. Finn I have a connection with, but he's always been kind of like the LeBron. Like, ever since he walked into NXT, it was like, here's our chosen one. He's gonna be great. He doesn't lose. I hope we get used to him not losing. So I feel like they need to start a new wave of getting people to fall in love with these new guys, because as of right now they keep calling in these names and I love it, but matches are so much better when you're emotionally invested. Like the difference between the Shinsuke and Aries match and the Shinsuke and Zayn match was because the crowd genuinely is in love with Sami Zayn, but they also were so excited to have Shinsuke there. And so like Aries and him put on a great match, but it doesn't feel the same because the connection's not the same. So with all that being said, I thought it was good. I really liked the new guy. I call him ACA because he's hard to say his name, the ex-luchador. I think he's got a lot of potential. I wonder if they'll let him talk or if he can talk. He beat Ty, and the great thing I liked about that match was the crowd was so behind Dillinger, because once again the crowd has watched Dillinger become Dillinger, and they love him for it because they took the journey with him. And Ty's one of those guys that everybody's like, well, we were there when Ty wasn't the perfect 10, so now we love him just to see him on the show.
I think Ty's outfit was the best outfit of the night.
Ty is the man.
I really liked his entrance outfit. Number 2 would be Nia Jax.
Oh, hers was dope.
Asuka was too many colors as usual. I don't like Asuka.
Matt's observations tonight, coming off the rope, coming off the rope speed and entrance attire. You gotta love it.
I mean, I think entrance attire is very important.
No, it always is very important.
Tell that to Chris Jericho.
I agree.
So Jim, I think to your point, and it kind of builds on. They're in a rebuild. I think NXT is like their top of the card is like is still like, because Finn is there, and Nakamura is automatically a star. But to your point, like they had, you know, the slow burn hasn't really happened for some of these people yet, right? And like you said, like you haven't been on a journey that long with Asuka or Nia Jax or this guy ACA who debuted. Like they're in a rebuild in terms of just building up like familiar faces in NXT because like people like Corbin and Cruz like went up to the roster. So I think that's a really good point that you bring up is that it's like it's just like a lot of new faces, honestly. And Bayley wasn't even on the card. So I don't know. I thought that was your best point that you brought up, that it's just a lot of new faces and to the point of them going to bring in new talent. Like, you know, 3-4 months from now, like everyone that wrestled will be just like, we'll know them so much more and how their character develops. And then there'll be a whole new flock of talent. So,
yeah. I thought the pay-per-view was good, but I agree with Jim that it was probably the worst takeover. I don't like Austin Aries. I think his arms are too short. The Nia Jax Asuka match was amazing. I really like the Finn Balor Samoa Joe match, but we've seen that match 3 times. Yeah, it was, but overall it was pretty good. I was disappointed, but like not really that American Alpha lost. I like them.
That was definitely the surprise of the night.
I said this earlier, like that's such an NXT thing to do because NXT does not follow the script of wrestling booking, and that's why I love it. The title changes hands at NXT Lowell, and it's not even televised. We have your first ever 2-time champions. Like usually the Revival would lose and then go on to something else, and then American Alpha would start. But that doesn't happen. Like NXT just breaks. They just don't give a shit. Like I love it. Like the booking just does not give a shit, and they're breaking ground as you guys the show that you
Charlie,
watch.
you need to watch this.
I know. So I love that they just do things different. If I had to say like a quick thing about every match, it would be that Ty Dillinger is the Dolph Ziggler and or Stardust of NXT, and like you said, Jim, he was probably the second or third most respected guy on the card. And he finally has a shirt on WWEshop.com. Go buy his shirt. Also
on Chris Jericho's podcast, Seth Rollins on, he said when he found out that he was going to come back, they sent him to Florida to train. He trained with Ty Dillinger.
Right.
Because he trusted him.
I've heard Owens in an interview be asked who is the most underrated talent they have down there in Full Sail, and he said Dillinger.
Right.
He's great.
Like when he came out, he was so hyped. He was so hyped to be, and he was just he knows that he's going to get his due. He's going to get his due one day.
Yeah. Entrance attire on fleek.
Right. So the new guy did an Ultimo Dragon spot. I don't know if you guys ever watched Ultimo Dragon wrestle.
I have.
But his WCW luchador, and he did the Ultimo Dragon spot a couple times where he like does the headstand on the ropes.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool.
Ty super kicked him.
Right. And I think the Revival completely deserves the championships twice. I think they're that damn good at doing the little things. I think that Austin Aries is unproven in my mind in terms of NXT. I didn't watch his stuff before that, but I'm not sold on him yet, honestly. I think that Asuka and Nia Jax was the best match of the night. And I think that Nia Jax really needs some Samoa Joe-like entrance music. Like you said, entrance is important. And Nia Jax entrance music sounds like a pop theme. And we talked about this, and it's just not intimidating. Nia Jax needs to be way more intimidating, way more monstrous. And then I think putting a Cage Joe Balor match was like the perfect touch for the end of their rivalry. And I don't know, it was a quick 2 hours, but it was a satisfying 2 hours for me. Not the best, but not the worst.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Charlie, like a cage match would be nothing on the main roster, but it it matters on NXT because they never have cage matches or even stipulation matches. Like they'll just have a lighter mile.
It's a great point. Like that's a great point, man. NXT just does simple better. And me being a Cubs fan, Joe, that's one of Joe Madden's things, philosophies that he preaches to the Cubs players, and people have made a shirt about it. Joe Madden just does simple better. The Cubs do simple better. NXT does simple better. They don't need a TLC pay-per-view with a chairs match in it to get matches over. Like they just the revival is so NXT because they do the little things so great. And that's what NXT does. I love it.
I actually agree with a lot of what you just said. The only thing we didn't really touch on was we said how cool that cage match was, but the fact that American Alpha lost, and like you said, it's different booking than normal. But do you think that's because they're trying to do the draft and American Alpha is going to be a team that gets picked?
I don't know.
I think they have to be. They're going to have more tag teams to be on 2 different shows, and they're such a good tag team. I think that's why they lost. It's different, but I think the Revival's not ready yet, and American Alpha is because they have a crowd connection. They're so athletic. Vince probably looks at Jason Jordan and gets so excited by how big he is, whereas Gable's going to connect with the Smarks. Jordan's going to connect with the kids. That's a money team right there. Like, there's a lot of money in that team, so I bet you they lost because they'll get called up.
Yeah.
Jim, that's honestly a great point. Like with 2 rosters, right? Having more tag teams. And to your point, like American Alpha is a much more main roster team because of the muscles and the hype, and the Revival is much more of an NXT team because they're no flips, just fists, and they do all the small stuff. To a casual fan, can't even notice it, but to a hardcore fan, we notice it. So it's a great point, Jim.
All right, let's move on to our fantasy update. I'm in last place. I don't want to talk about fantasy wrestling, so we'll just move on. My team sucks.
Jim, break down these past 2 weeks since we. All
right, so since the last time we touched base with our esteemed listeners, Charlie was in first place, and it was only 1 day into the season, and now we're like 2.5 weeks in. SmackDown points won't get counted until tomorrow, but the current standings are Thomas now in first handily. He's got like a 40-point lead over Charlie's team, which is in second now. And Thomas's team is just dominating because Ambrose has been stacking wins. Cesaro's been stacking wins. Tyler Breeze and Fandango have like 45 each, and they're winning matches a lot. Enzo Amore is doing good. He's got a Uso, and Kalisto has been off TV, so he might end up dropping him, but his team is loaded. It's going to be really hard to beat. And then, to your credit, Charlie made the first trade of the season by trading both of the Dudley boys to Pat for Alberto Del Rio. And then Del Rio goes on to beat Sami Zayn, which is not cool because I have Sami Zayn. And now, like, Charlie's stacking, like, Kofi Kingston wins, Bullet Club wins, Alberto wins, Owens wins, Becky Lynch. The only thing that's scary is that I think me and you both should debate losing Aiden English and Simon Gotch soon, because I feel like they're going to start taking a big downswing after they didn't even get it. And they got that BS win on Monday, but their intro wasn't even shown on TV. They were already in the ring and stuff. That's not good signs. I'm in third. Rusev is the leading point getter in the entire league with 115. I'm in third place, and I've only had 3 people score me points. So if I can maybe drop Epico and Primo if Vince decides to never put them on TV again, and maybe even pick up – if I even pick up like someone who will get like 2 points a night, it's at this point better, because Rusev, Sami Zayn, and Simon Gotch have gotten me 210, and 210 is still way out of third or second because Charlie's got 277. But I mean, I'm in third by a decent amount. Pat has 178. Ace has 137. Christian 121. Davis 111, and then Matt with 85. But he's got a lot of cool people on his team. The NXT champion being one of them.
I'm in talks with Charlie about acquiring Becky Lynch, so I will have all 4 horsewomen. My goal is to have all 4 horsewomen in the New Day. That's what I want my team to be. But one thing I wanted to say is that I believe Pat only traded Alberto Del Rio because he is in love with Paige, and there's rumors that Alberto Del Rio is putting his thing in Paige. So
that's happening. That's a very confirmed rumor.
Yeah.
So this, and that's why he traded Alberto Del Rio. He didn't want to have both of them on his team.
You paper boy, Pedro.
Yeah, because if they have a little Pedro, maybe.
Oh my God!
That would be very.
No, stop. Paige is so innocent. Don't do her like that.
I love how Del Rio's been calling Sami Zayn the paper boy. It's really good. And Del Rio just needs to be on TV more because the dude's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So, being the smart GM that I am, I saw an opportunity to trade two Dudleys who time, but now they were I don't know if they weren't on this week, but they were on last week, and they got a win on SmackDown, so they helped Pat out. But they lost that feud to Enzo and Cass that kind of had a blow off on Raw. Yeah. So Pat didn't have anyone on TV because he drafted Paige and Ryback, and Ryback he's never going to be on TV. And Paige just isn't yet. I made a move to trade 2 for 1, and I knew ADR was going to be in the Money in the Bank conversation. Not going to win it, but he's going to be he's going to be wrestling. So I made that move.
Smart move.
Yeah, but
prey on Pat's emotions.
But Kofi's doing well. KO is losing a lot, but it's fine. Like, I think it'll pay off because he's going to win some big matches upcoming.
Yeah. Probably going to win the money.
Carl Anderson continues just to do awesome. I'm really glad I have Carl Anderson because Carl Anderson can speak better, and he's way more athletic. So Becky Lynch finally is starting to playtime is over. Finally starting to
be the last kicker.
Yeah, finally starting to beat up on Dana Brooke a little bit and kind of making an even feud. I think they're gonna set up a tag for Money in the Bank, and it's an easy time for Charlotte to lose because she can lose and not lose the belt. So hopefully Becky goes over there with Natty. Natty has not been picked up on our team. She's still out there. So if any of you guys want to pick up
probably would have been a good pick.
Probably would have been a good pick. But yeah, I'm really happy with my team. But to your credit, Jim, you are not far behind me, and we've traded like second and third spots, and there's a lot of people on your team that aren't scoring yet. So like Rusev is killing it. Like probably him or Ambrose, probably the pick of the draft, like thus far. And like, so you're right there with like half your team. So, yeah, so good. Hats off to you.
To one last point. Roman Reigns went first overall, and he has 1 point.
Right. How is that happening? Because I feel like he should have at least gotten some like attack points, like the attack of an attack point on dropthebelt.com is considered like after a match or during like an interview segment, like someone will come and like beat him up really quick and he'll beat him up. I don't know.
He hasn't done anything.
None of those.
He cut one promo.
He's just been doing promos, and I wonder if they're gonna change his approach now that he's champion. I wonder, like, he won't. You know how every Raw main event used to be like, it'd be like a tag team, and it'd be like a 6-man tag, and Reigns would be in it, and his team would always win. I wonder if they change that approach now, and he hardly wrestles, only wrestles in like big time events. And if that happens, then that obliterates his fantasy value, because then you're only going to get points when he retains at the pay-per-views.
Right. Yeah, and this is an observation I pointed out to Matt. Like, there's something to be said about the person chasing the title than the title holder. Like, especially with Charlotte. Charlotte is being booked to just cut a lot of promos because they want to protect her. So it's something to be said about the chase rather than the champion. So it's getting interesting. Unless you're Rusev, right, who just obliterates people. And Titus O'Neil's on my team. He's not going to win Money in the Bank, but well, it's good to at least have him. As he's he's going to face Rusev for the U.S. title of Money in the Bank.
Is Money in the Bank this Sunday?
No,
it's
the next.
The next one.
Yeah. Yep.
All right,
but yeah, that's our fantasy update.
Yeah, we'll move on to the game.
All right.
You're doing the game, Jim?
All right, so the game last week was a lot of fun. The game this week is going to be, I'm going to play an intro theme music. The two gentlemen that do the podcast with me are going to have to name whose theme music it is the quickest. The way that this will work is I will say 3, 2, 1. I'll play the song. The first person to say their name, a la Charlie or Matt, gets to answer the question. If said person fails to get the song or the wrestler's theme correct, the other person can steal. But the steal has to be instant. So I have to say my own name? Yeah.
Is that like the buzzer?
That's like the buzzer, yeah. So I play the song. If you know what it is, you go, Matt. And then I'd say, all right, what is it, Matt?
That's not really fair because Charlie has 2 syllables and I only have 1. Or should I say
to make it fair? To make it fair, you can say M or C. Good deal.
Matthew. He said Charlie.
All right, Matthew and Charlie. That's either one works. All right, so let me cue up the first theme.
I'm just trying to be fair.
No, I understand.
Now, the rules of the game is I'm going to pick themes that may or may not even be of active wrestlers. You may get a theme of a wrestler.
Okay.
So we're going to...
I listen to themes all the time.
Right, here we go. I feel like this one may be difficult. This is a medium difficulty.
Okay.
Charlie.
Hardy Boys.
Oh, I don't know if I should give it to you.
Jeff Hardy.
You said Jeff Hardy? All right, so 1 point to Charlie for we'll give him the Hardy, but it was Jeff Hardy's theme. All right, round 2. Here we go. Oh, we got an ad. We got to fill 15 seconds of time.
Why won't you pay for fucking Spotify?
I refuse.
Yeah, I don't.
I refuse.
I have Apple Music, which I pay for, but they don't have all the fun themes. They have a handful. All right, here we go.
Oh, Charlie. Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston's old theme is correct.
All right, you're picking the era where I wasn't watching.
All right, fine. I'll get you a new one. Here we go.
Stop with the mid 2000s.
Actually, I want to do one more mid 2000s, and then I'll do a new one. All right, here we go.
Charlie.
Hey.
Bautista.
It is Bautista. All right, it's 3-0.
Whose fault is that?
All right, we'll do a newer theme. This one.
Wait! I just won. It was best out of 5, wasn't it?
Well, that was too short. We're making it best out of 7 now. So you gotta win. You gotta win 4. Matt, you can do it. Cinderella story. He's up 3 games, 3 games to none. Here we go.
Matthew.
There we go. All right, 3 games to 1. Don't call it a comeback. The kid was down on his luck, and now he is coming back.
Yo, can you give me some room here, bro?
Room? Shut up.
Ken, here we go.
Charlie. Mark Henry.
Mark Henry is correct for the final.
Why are you doing the attitude era thing?
Wait, Mark Henry's.
That was his new theme.
That's not his attitude era theme.
His attitude era theme is sexual chocolate.
I think your picks
you
were
like
great.
it because you won. You like it because you fucking won. Fuck.
I'll do a bonus. I'll do a bonus one that I saw that I was like, no one.
Do an attitude era one.
All right. They have some.
I have a good one actually. For you two. It doesn't count for the game, but I don't think you guys will get it.
All right, here's my favorite.
Can I play one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Amon Shumpert's going to play the theme because he lost because he's on the Cleveland Cavs.
The Cavs won actually tonight, so
yeah, you did get one win. So
don't look. What is this?
Oh, high energy.
But that's true. Yeah, but it was Owen Hart,
right?
Dude, that's impressive, Charlie. That's impressive.
Charlie knows his themes.
I know my themes.
I listen to themes like all day long, so I was surprised. But I don't listen to any of the era that you played.
I listen to themes on my phone.
Well, here's my personal favorite theme of all time. So Matt, if you get this, you automatically beat Charlie, I think.
Okay.
Charles.
Oh, fuck me.
I don't know
this. You can steal.
I know. It's Evolution.
It is Evolution. My favorite faction of all time.
Can I play my favorite theme?
Yeah, let's do one more. Do one more. Apollo Crews!
It's too easy!
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that was our game of calling out the theme music. Charlie is now a 2-time. That's almost quicker than Roman Reigns' 2-time WWE championships. Charlie's now a 2-time hot tag champion. So I'm going to reach through the camera. I'm struggling to make the tag. Charlie's going to get 1 minute to air his grievances with the hot tag. Go.
I was not prepared for this moment at all. But why don't I just give my 30 seconds to actually, you know what we should talk about? The Shockmaster has an action figure coming out. It's a legit. If you don't know who the Shockmaster is, then you haven't spent enough time on YouTube, my friend. Because my boy Sting, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, my favorite, introduced the Shockmaster, who I think was
Dusty Rhodes.
What was his name? No, it wasn't Dusty Rhodes. It was Dusty Rhodes' idea, but it wasn't Dusty Rhodes. So look up the YouTube video of the Shockmaster. It is WCW at its finest and its worst. And it's a guy who breaks through a wall, and he trips over himself, and he has a stormtrooper helmet on made of silver glitter.
I know what you're talking about.
And it falls off of his face, and they're making an action figure about it. Biggie tweeted about it.
Oh,
so all the collectors out there are going to buy this action figure.
I might have to buy that. I remember that. That's hilarious.
Fred Ottman.
Yeah, he was Tugboat, right? Or no?
Let me see his other wrestling names in the past. He was Tugboat.
He was Tugboat. So And he was Typhoon. So he was a tag team champion at one point.
Great names.
But a WWF tag team champion, but not in WCW. He was the Shockmaster. Shocking the world. Go watch the YouTube video. You can hear my time's up, but I don't give a shit. But you can hear very two like good snippets. You can hear like Booker T in that YouTube video. You can hear Booker T go, "Who the fuck is this asshole?" and then you can hear Davey Boy Smith go, He fell on his arse. He fell flat on his fucking arse. Like you can go watch the video and just listen closely. And
Go ahead. I found an article called "The Shockmaster Incident," and it says, after departing from the WWF, Ottman found himself at the center of one of the most infamous moments in wrestling history. He had signed with WCW and was to make his debut in a match alongside the fan favorite Sting. It says during his entrance, while making his entrance, Ottman tripped over a piece of lumber that was framing the set, causing him to fall forward through the wall, with his helmet falling off and sliding across the floor. His face accidentally exposed. He scrambled to put the helmet back on as Flair exclaimed, "Oh God!" Ottman and got back on his feet, shifting his weight and dusting his hands off and attempting to shrug off the gaff, while the Harlem Heat's Cole asked, "Who is this motherfucker?" and Smith exclaimed he fell flat on his arse. Both of these comments were audible to the live audience and television viewers, but were bleeped in the future showings of the footage by WWE. That is epic.
That's my hot tag right there.
All right. Well, can't do any better than that to end the show. All right. Look up the Shockmaster, which is a terrible name. So yeah, this has been Layeth the Mat Down. Thank you for listening / watching. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Wait, 1 second. Follow at Layeth the Mat Down on Twitter. Shameless plugs. Gotta get in the shameless plugs.
Plug.
Tell them to follow. Tell them to follow our new homie.
Who's our new homie?
Our girl?
The Marky Smart.
The Marky Smart.
The Marky Smart. So, just a really good follow on Twitter. Her name's Trina, and she's from Chicago. Shout out to Chicago. And follow the Marky Smart. Really doing her thing and like becoming a follower and like a live tweeter, a live discussion. Individual. I don't know what you want to call her. I don't know what she would call herself, but she's someone who loves wrestling. So
follow at Fat Reed, Fat with 2 T's. I'm like Matt Reed, but Fat Reed. Follow at Chuck Colorado.
Chuck _ Colorado.
And Jim, are you there? Oh yeah. What's your Twitter handle?
I have one, but my phone's doing one of those updates right now, and I haven't tweeted in so long. I think it's JM Welsh, except the E is the 3, because when I made it, I was a gangster.
Whoa, dude, is that like a gamer tag or something?
That's like an old gamer tag. Follow hashtag JM Welsh with a 3, baby. W3LSH.
Oh my
all right.
goodness.
Now you
hashtag still here, dog.
You need to end this now.
Yeah.
All right. Follow JMW3
LSH. Yeah.
W3L.
Don't even follow him.
Yeah, don't follow him. Or you want to pull a big E on what's it called? On up, down, down. Every time he's like, it's like, don't follow me. If you follow me, unfollow me. Yeah. Anyway, follow at Fat Reed. Seriously, follow me. Follow Chuck Colorado. Follow at Layeth the Mat Down. Follow the Marky Smart. Don't follow JM Welsh. Follow Charles. and
follow my
sweet.
Yes. Yeah. All right. This has been Layeth the Mat Down. Thanks for listening. Bye. We'll see you in 2 weeks.